Bear Down Bears fans, Chicago Bears podcast. Pat the designer, Jason McKie. J Mack getting the camera right out here. You got to get the angles, brother. It's all about the angles.
You know, I'm not the most technological sound guy. I'm on my laptop, so bear with me, guys. I'll be on the screen somewhere, though. You know,
well, eventually. Yeah, I mean, that's all good. No, you all good, man. Hey, listen, we got a lot to get into today. This is pretty much our main day here because of the holiday season coming up and all of that, right? Everybody's getting the turkeys ready. It's about to get crazy out here. Football all day. That's all I care about. I'm not gonna lie to you. Football all day. I wake up. It's just a game. Oh my God. Let's get it cracking. But we're gonna preview this Bears and Vikings game because I mean, this is me and J Mack were just sitting here talking. After last week, dare I say I'm a little bit confident heading into this week. It's gonna be an interesting game. We'll see what the Bears can do on Monday Night Football. Talk about from the players' perspective, the locker room reacting. We got to talk about this coaching because somebody called into the post game show and left such a poor taste in my mouth because of how they talked about the great head coaches in Bears history, and all they did was list them. So we'll talk about that and all that and more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears Pod. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. J Mack, what it do?
So, man, yeah, it's the season of giving, and we got, unfortunately, two teams that did some giving away last week. You know, the Vikings gave one away, and obviously you saw what we did out there in Detroit. But
well done, J Mack. Well done. A true professional on that.
But like you said, Pat, I'm excited about football. You know, it's a lot of good football on Thursday. This Bears team, they have another opportunity in front of the world on Monday night against the NFC North opponent to right their wrongs from last week. And I really felt like, as you've seen the game, they played well for the most part, except for the end of the game. The guys played physical. I think did they execute at a high level the entire game? No team does, but they played well enough, and they made plays when they were there to be made. They just didn't continue making those plays at the end of the game to put the game away. So I think that's what's disheartening in terms of that loss. And I know we're going to get into the locker room, and I was in that locker room with those guys. I feel for them guys because, like I said, man, these guys, they're going to work every day. They're practicing every day. They're watching the film. They're lifting weights. They're trying to do the right things to put them in a position to win games. And it's tough when you're a player and you go out there, you're not getting results, on Sunday. It's hard to go back to the drawing board and do the same thing. It's hard to listen to your coach, give you the same uplifting speech, but then it's not translating out there on the field. And as a player, not just a player, but human nature, you're going to start questioning things. You're going to start questioning yourself. Yeah. Am I doing the right things to help this team win? Am I doing everything I need to prepare to make sure I'm ready for a game? And you're going to start questioning everything. The coach, your position coach, the culture, the team in general. You're going to question. You may start questioning the man next to you like, man, is he putting in the same work I am? It's tough, man. It's hard.
It's going to be was there ever a loss that you went through? Well, clearly nobody's ever gone through a loss like what the Bears just went through. So clearly you didn't go through one of those. But was there a loss that you went through where it was, I know we should have won that game. I know 110% that we were the better team in this game and we came out on the losing end. Yeah. And how did y'all overcome that as a team?
There was two of them. It was I'll start back. The Carolina game we lost in the playoffs, and I think it was 2005.
Yeah.
And that's a game that Steve Smith went bananas on us. And, we had beat that same team earlier in the year. And I felt like we as a team got better as the year progressed. And they did too. I give them credit too. Carolina got better as well. The game was at home. I think what really hurt us is having that bye week and then having to play that game after a bye week. And, as a player, when you get in the rhythm, you get in that same routine every week, week in and week out, you start building momentum. And I think our momentum was halted having that bye week. It's like we had to restart. So that game we started slow, and then that Carolina was hitting on all cylinders. I think there was the wild card that year, and they got out ahead, and we tried to come back, and it was just too late. And the other one is obviously the Super Bowl. I felt like we were definitely the better team. We were the more physical team. Just some things we did in that game that I still scratch my head on today. But at the end of the day, that's just the way the ball rolls sometimes.
I listen, the Super Bowl, I still to this day, I just wish Lovey had Luke Getsy's game plan in the last 2 minutes. Just run the ball. Just run. I'm sorry. I had a flashback there, J Mack. That's my fault. So Thomas Jones. Let's jump into this Bears Vikings preview, man, because I do think that there is something to be said about, what the Bears just went through. The one thing that Lance said that I do give a lot of credit to is that, not that I don't give credit to the other stuff. Y'all be, it's clickbait there. You got to clarify yourself in this world. But he said 56 minutes of football was great.
Yeah.
4 minutes was horrible.
Yep.
Don't worry about the 56. Let's fix the 4. If this Bears team can go out and play 60 minutes of football like they played the 56 versus the Lions heading into this Vikings game,
yeah,
I'm actually confident heading into this week. I actually feel good going up against the Vikings. Like, I actually feel like almost a little chesty. I know we're not a good team. I know I'm not going to beat my chest about, going up against the Vikings, but they won this game based on establishing the run and getting Josh Dobbs out on the edges for some of those nice throws, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I can say that the Bears defense was pretty good at for 56 minutes of football was destroying the run and making sure that the quarterback stayed in the pocket. Now, he was he's not going anywhere more times than not. But I just feel like heading into this game, the Bears are actually suited to be the better team versus this Vikings team.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And here's the thing, right? A game like we just had, right? There's two sides of the coin, right? And I'm gonna start with the positive side, going off of what you just said, Pat. The positive side is, like you said, let's build upon what we did well in this game. So if I'm a coach, if I'm just really focusing on the positive side, I'm gonna say, you know what? We're gonna watch the good. We're gonna forget the bad. We're gonna burn that tape. We ain't watching that. We're gonna look at the 56 minutes of good that we did, the 56 minutes of dominance that we had out there in Detroit. And let's build upon that. This is who we can be. This is who we actually are, but we have to go out there and show it all the time. And the only thing we didn't do was we didn't put our foot on their throat and put the game away when we had the opportunities.
Yeah.
So if I'm the coach, national audience, Monday Night Football, let's put our foot on their throat. You know what I'm saying? And the leaders in the locker room, they have to echo that same message throughout the locker room. And I asked Justin Fields that after the game. I asked Tremaine Edmonds that after the game. What is the message to your team, after a loss like this? And they all said this. Then Tremaine said, hey, we got to put our head down and keep grinding. Justin Fields says, yes, there is positives we can build upon this game. And he was going to make sure he let his teammates know that, right? So that's what those guys have to do. That's what the coaches have to do. That's what the captains have to do in turn all week, keeping the mental aspect in terms of that whole locker room at a high level. Now, here's the other way things can go, right? Guys start harping on the last few minutes of that game.
Last 4 minutes.
Right, the last 4 minutes. And it goes back to what I said when we opened the pod, right? Some guys, regardless of what that coach is going to say, regardless of what that captain is going to say, the guys are going to have that doubt creep in their mind. All that negativity is going to creep in their mind. Dang, are we a bad team? Oh, we played good. We failed for the last 4 minutes. Man, are we that bad? Is coach going to get fired? Oh, Justin Fields, am I the quarterback of the future? Caleb Williams, Drake May talk out here. You know what I'm saying? All that negativity creeps into your mind, right? You start believing that, right? You don't have belief in your teammate next to you. You don't have belief in yourself. You don't believe in the scheme or this coaching staff. And guess what? You go out there and you look completely opposite in terms of the way you did the first 56 minutes of that game. You look terrible and you get embarrassed by a team that you have an opportunity to beat. Yeah.
And that's the one thing for me that, like, right, the last 4 minutes of the game, to me, if they let that be their identity, I mean, you got killed basically in 2 minute drill. The whole game. You lost the game off a 2 minute drill.
Yeah.
If you let that be the thing that breaks you, right, then you are the team that you are. And it's been a long season. They're now 3-8, but I just feel like every week has been like, okay, that is a little bit better. That's moving in the right. I can see improvement here. I can see improvement here. But it's just getting, as the losses continue to pile up, you could see it in Justin's face at the end of it. The look was, what else do I got to do?
Yeah.
And they're all going to be piling on Justin. He knows what's coming this week. It's just like, what else do I got to do?
Well, the encouraging thing that I saw from him after the game is he didn't really have that dejected and defeated look. Was he mad? Of course. Everybody was mad in there. And there was a lot of guys.
I thought the comment was great. It's the first time I've ever heard him be cocky. He said, and I don't know if it was cocky. It was just true. He's like, we should have won the game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even in the locker room, he was just like, man, he was upset, but at the same time, like, he didn't have that look of being defeated. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, man, like, everybody's shocked. Some guys were more defeated and more dejected than the other guys. But Justin, like, he still had his head up high. Obviously, he played a good game, but, I felt like there was a level of confidence still within him. Like he said, we should have won that game, and they should have. And it's when you look at the way the game broke down, right, it was the fact that you gave them the game. And when I say you gave them the game, is because you stopped being aggressive. You took your foot off the gas, offensively and defensively, right? Yeah. You didn't do the thing. Like, when you came into that stadium, that first drive was beautiful. Getsy was aggressive in play calling. The play calls fit the talents of Justin Fields. They went right at Detroit. They set a tone of physicality. They executed at a high level. And what happened? They go on the drive and they score first, right? You take the air out of that stadium.
Yeah.
Then throughout the entire game, right, the defense set a tone, right? The defensive line, were they getting home to Jared Goff at first? No, but what they were doing was they were getting their hands up, affecting the passing lanes, getting tipped balls, which led to those interceptions, which led to those takeaways.
Yeah.
So, you came out with a lot of energy and like, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're going out here. One thing we're going to do is we're going to be more physical than them. And that's going to give us a chance to win this game. We're going to be more aggressive than them. But then at the last, like you said, the last half of the game, right, you sat back, you started playing not to lose. Oh, let's just keep everything in front of us defensively. Let's just give up the check down, the check down. They're going to, well, like Coach Flew said, they scored too fast. Yeah, because we're giving them chunk yardage. Like, we're just giving them.
Hey, that's the funniest thing ever. Yeah, I think they got down the field too fast. You playing 15 yards off.
Yeah, and like, if you stay aggressive, make Goff uncomfortable in that pocket, Pat, like, he's a guy that's not going to scramble. He's a guy that's not necessarily going to hurt you with his legs or extend plays a lot. He's going to be at a landmark. And that D-line knows if they get to that mark, right, they can affect him. They can make him uncomfortable in that pocket. But if you don't get to that mark, what I love what the Bears D-line did, they were getting their hands up. The same thing that you should have been doing on those last two drives to put the game away is the same thing you should have been doing defensively the whole game, that you were doing the whole game. And you just stopped and you gave them an opportunity. You gave them life. You gave them confidence. You gave them momentum, and you gave them a win.
See, it's funny. It's funny to hear it from an offensive player's perspective because Lance was like, you gave us 2 touchdowns. We supposed to win that game. That's on the defense, right? And he likes the mindset of that. Maybe he didn't like the play calling per se, but he liked the mindset of it's okay to run the clock out now. That's what you're supposed to do in this moment because the defense is supposed to be able to get 2 stops
100%
going out there. But it sounds like you're more on the, hey, listen, you got to keep your foot on the gas, which is the side I think most of Chicago's on. You got to keep your foot on the gas because you're not that good of a team. And to me, I'm like, Lance, he thinks he got y'all on defense, right? Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like Lovey would play prevent, but y'all had one of the best red zone defenses in the NFL, if not the best red zone defense in the NFL. So it'd be like you play prevent all the way and they get to the red zone and they'd be like, all right, now you're not moving past the 20, right? Gonna kick that field goal. You could have kicked it on first down. It's gonna be the same result.
But this is the thing. We could do that because we had a front 4 that could get home. You know what I mean? Like, you guys weren't necessarily getting home, but like I said, they did a great job of affecting the passing lanes, getting their hands up, tipping balls throughout the entire game. And then if you notice on that last drive, right, we talked about it, the last 3 drives, Montez Sweat, I'm standing next to him on the sideline. Tremaine Edmonds, I'm standing next to him on the sideline. Two of your marquee players on defense.
We talked about that yesterday.
They weren't even in. And I asked Tremaine after the game. You can pull up my post-game interview with Tremaine, and it was short because he didn't really want to answer a lot of questions. And I feel for him, but I got to ask the questions. And I said, hey, Tremaine, notice on that last drive, you weren't in on that last drive. And he didn't really answer the question. He's like, yeah, we got to get a stop there. So I don't know, I don't know what happened. He seemed like he was healthy to me. I ain't going to start any rumors. I don't know, but that's what was confusing to me. is, Montez Sweat is not really out there, and then Tremaine Edmonds wasn't in on that drive. One of your marquee players, one of your players that has the athleticism, right, to affect the middle of the field.
Yeah.
The team that's dinking and dunking over the middle of the field, and your guy's not there. So that's what was hard for me to stomach.
We talked about that yesterday too, right? And it's the one thing, right? Like Courtney took it back to the first week when DJ Moore's not in there on a touchdown drive versus the Packers, right? And like when I heard Floosh yesterday, and I'm just pairing things together, right? J Mack not gonna do this. I'm the podcast. I don't care. When I heard Floosh yesterday, take it back to, well, whoever the defensive coordinator that called that defense versus the Saints, he made some really good calls, right? And it just flashed me back to Matt Nagy when Matt Nagy was sitting there. Listen, I'm the head coach. This is real. I'm putting myself above the players. And so what I'm calling is God, and what everybody else is doing is what I command for everybody else to do. It feels to me like the narrative of, right, I think what they're going with now is that the players took themselves out. I don't buy it. I call BS. Because you know what? Montez Sweat almost never took himself out in Washington. He got to Chicago, and now he's like, you know what, boys? I've been out there 20 minutes. I need a breather. No, I don't buy it. Tremaine, they played on the field for 19 minutes of play. 19 minutes, 46 seconds. Why would they be too tired to be out on the field? There's something in your defense, in your scheme that Flus is calling that calls for them to not be on the field in that moment, and that's moronic.
I don't know what that is, but I mean, like I said, I'm on the sideline. I'm right next to the guys, but I'm not in the huddle, but I'm close enough. Like I'm three or 4 feet away where I'm looking at him. And, Montez had his helmet on. He's engaged looking on the field. Tremaine had his helmet on. Did Tremaine have his helmet on? I think he did have his helmet on, engaged looking at the field. So I was confused. I'm like, well, I'm looking. I'm like, I don't know why Tremaine's not out there.
Yeah.
And then Montez came out there, after half the drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that, but I don't know. I'm not in those meeting rooms. I know Coach talked about there's a rotation, and a lot of teams, they have that D-line rotation now to keep guys fresh. But at the end of the day, right, you got to be fresh when the game's on the line. Like, I don't care
who was dead.
I don't care how.
It was 19 minutes, 46 seconds. Who was tired?
There's no such thing as being dead. You got to go to that reserve fuel tank and turn and put your foot on that gas pedal right at that point and get to the quarterback. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's game time. It's crunch time. Like, we have a chance to beat the top team in the NFC North right now at home. So if we win that game, it's like we won 2. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going against an NFC North opponent and it's at home. The game has much more weight. So I was so confused by that. It's tough, man. It really is. Even as a former player, to go in that locker room and to see the emotions that those guys had leaving that locker room, to see Ryan Poles' face leaving the locker room. And the person that took it, I think, that I saw that took it the worst was Darnell Wright. He was so upset with himself. Yeah. He was so upset with himself that last play. And if you watch the All-22, Darnell Wright did a hell of a job on Aiden Hutchinson the whole game.
Yeah.
And he took that last play to heart, to the fact that on the way out of the locker room, Ryan Poles came over and they had a one-on-one conversation. And yes, I was eavesdropping. So
a little bit on the side. Oh, break out.
What you talking about, Ryan? What you talking about, Ryan? So, Ryan was just telling me, he's like, hey, man, like, he was like, you put together, you had a good game. He's like, don't let that one play beat yourself. And Ryan, I respect that, because Ryan was talking to him as a former player, as a fellow offensive lineman. He wasn't talking to him as Ryan Poles, the GM. He was talking to him as Ryan Poles, a fellow offensive lineman. Yeah. He was just trying to encourage him. And Darnell took it hard. And, like I tweeted out after the game, like, and Darnell Wright was not healthy the whole game. There were several times I seen him limping around. And I even talked about it on our post game, Pat. There was one play where I thought he was going to come out. And he took a knee and he took his fist and he pounded it in the turf and got back up and got back in that huddle. And when I saw that, I was like, man, you know what? This rookie, we already knew he had something, but I was like, this rookie has heart. Hey, this rookie is putting it on the line for his team, man. And I would have loved to have played with that guy, any Sunday, man.
He seems like one of those players. And the reason that I love him, right, that one, like when you look at the All-22, when we say he did a good job against Aiden Hutchinson, like he did I've never seen somebody do that good of a job again. And I've said this multiple times this season, right? Like with premier pass, who was the other one we was talking about? Aiden Hutchinson and who's old boy in Oakland? Why can't I think of it? Max Crosby.
Yeah,
the job he did against Max Crosby was one of those where it was like, I've never seen nobody shut down Max Crosby for pretty much a whole game. Darnell Wright is doing things that elite right tackles in this NFL struggle to do. And the fact that he took that last play so hard, now, of course, right, it ends up being a strip sack. It goes out for a safety at the end of the game. But it's 30 seconds. You're hoping for a prayer at that point. You're trying to get down the field. What were we at? The 10 or because of the penalty and all that? You're trying to get down 90 yards down the field. Like
we were on our 10-yard line, I think, somewhere around there.
Because we end up getting a penalty on there for a block in the back or something like that.
Yeah, and the thing about that play too, Pat, is you go back and watch the all-22. I had a different perspective because when I was there, I was like, man, he got beat with a speed rush. You know, and then rewatching the all-22 in the game, it almost looked like Justin almost had a little time to step up in the pocket.
Yeah, he did.
But I just don't, it happened so fast. Justin's eyes are downfield and boom. You know what I mean? That's how quick things happen. So, I feel him.
And I think Justin said as much. He said, I got to step up in that moment. That's on me.
Yeah. So, man, it's tough, man. I mean, I was thrilled. One of the biggest takeaways, and we've talked about this all year, Pat, that I was thrilled to see, like you said, for most of the game, a game plan that really highlighted Justin Fields' skill set.
Yeah.
And every time we see the game plan devised to put his skill set on display, he goes out there and balls, man. Like he goes out there and balls. So when we're talking about evaluations on if we have a franchise quarterback, if we have our franchise quarterback or not, I think we do. Basically, if you're giving him the right game plan.
Yeah.
We see when you don't give him, when you don't put him in position to make plays, scheme-wise, he struggles because what you're calling isn't him.
Yeah.
But when you give him the right game plan, you see what he does. I mean, he's a nightmare. I mean, even Dan Campbell said in his press conference after the game, he said, man, that dude, like, he's a dude. Like, he played well. He had his problems.
I think that's the thing, too, right? Like, it's like, I don't need to see that specific game plan every week where he's running for 18 carries, 100. I don't need to see that every week because I don't think Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson. But when you watched what Lamar Jackson did to Detroit, that was the perfect game plan for that game. There are going to be some games where Justin can stand in the pocket and let that mug rip. There's going to be some games where he's got to use his legs more than his arms. The fact that you have a guy that can do both, and there's still flaws with Justin. Listen, the one big play where he throws it to DJ Moore off balance like a baseball player, right? Those are like a shortstop. He could have stood in the pocket and threw it right to Darnell Mooney over the middle. There's still things that's going to be missed, but when you have a guy that's that dynamic, when you have a guy that can make something out of nothing, that to me is more valuable than having a guy that can stand back there and just, I'm in the pocket and I know what I'm doing, right? Because then you can fit a system to that guy that accentuates what he does well. If Luke Getsy can consistently fit a system to this guy that accentuates what he does well, he might save his job. I don't know. It's getting ugly. We're running out of games for these coaches. We're running out of games. I know Lance wants to keep everybody, run it back. We building something in the right direction. We don't want to start over.
What Greg said he wants to keep everybody.
Lance basically is on some he feels like, well, first off, the defense playing better, so he's there on that. Defense is playing well, but he's basically like, you don't want to start over.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to start at square one. You want to continue to build. You're building towards something. You're getting better. You're 4 minutes away. Listen, no disrespect, but I feel like Dave Wannstedt was 4 minutes away his entire career, Yeah. There's sometimes where coaches are always 4 minutes away. As a head coach, I should say. He was a great offensive coordinator, but
it's a tough job. I'm a coach. It's a tough job, man. And I'm not a coach on their level, but it's the time, the amount of time, the commitment level, the hours you put in. It's like it's something you don't see people, the normal person doesn't see.
Yeah.
And I'm sure them guys are at that facility damn near 18 hours a day. They're probably sleeping there. Trying to right their wrongs, trying to make sure they're doing everything they can to get back in that win column. So, it's tough, man. I want these coaches to do well. I want this team to do well. it's frustrating. It's hard to see week in and week out because, like we keep saying, you do have some pieces on this team. You do have, a lot of good players. Like, that offensive line went healthy, man. Like we're just a couple pieces away. Like I love it. I love the way Tevin Jenkins plays the game. I already talked about Darnell Wright. Nate Davis does some good things. Braxton Jones is still developing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the good foundations of a solid offensive line. You got good backs. You got good backs. And, I think we need some more, options for Justin to get the ball downfield. I'm not happy with my boy Tyler Scott, man. I love him to death, but come on, Tyler, we need you, baby. We need you, man.
But you know what? Even that, right? Even that, to me, I think, and I love the game Justin played. The one flaw that I do give Justin got his guy. The rest of y'all get the rest. And I feel like that's how, right? Like, everything was get the ball to DJ. Find a way to get the ball to DJ. Now he's getting the ball to DJ. Darnell not really getting the ball. Cole gets the ball kind of on some of those little underneath joints. So if there's a big play over the middle, right, and he's wide open, you'll get the ball to Cole. But, right, like, everybody else just kind of gets the scraps. And I get it, right? Like, with a number one receiver, that's often how it does go. But you would like to see it spread out a little bit, because there were moments after watching y'all 22 where I was like, Darnell wide open. It's not on Darnell. He's doing his job. And I feel like that is the one, at least right now, and it don't mean it'll be a flaw his whole career, but right now the one flaw that I think Justin has is he zeroes in on his guy. Now, the good thing is that his guy is really good at getting open.
His guy's open. His guy's making plays.
Yeah, you can't hate on his guy. He's a pretty good guy. Yeah, I'd love to have that guy.
I mean, he gave, like you said, he gave some scraps to Darnell. He gave some scraps to Cole.
Yeah.
You try to give scraps to Tyler, you don't want the scraps. You know what I mean? So do you like Tyler on that play? Do you like that to me, that should be Darnell Mooney? Talking about just in terms of the personnel?
In terms of the personnel on that, because they had a bunch set to the right, with DJ, Darnell.
To the right. Tyler was one-on-one on the
Tyler was one-on-one. Like, I get it, right? Because all the safety eyes are over there, right? Darnell's over there, DJ's over there, so Tyler's open. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather have a dude that I know isn't going.
So you're saying, like, if you would have had DJ over there, put Tyler over there in the bunch, let DJ run the go route, let everybody run what they did. Everybody ran over route.
Now, I don't think you could put DJ over there because all eyes are on DJ. Yeah. Right? Like, the reason the play works is because it's Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
But I think that play could work with Darnell Mooney because he had one target at that point.
Yeah, and it's just finishing the play too. The play work if you finish the play as a receiver, right? You've got to run through the ball. You can never slow up and, I don't know, like he lost track of the ball. You've got to finish the play. We're giving you an opportunity, Rook. Yeah. We're giving you an opportunity, Rook, to seal the game in Detroit, NFC North game, against the top team in the NFC North. You got an opportunity to put the game away. I'm going to give you a chance, Rook. Go make the play. I mean, I get it. It's never going to be a perfect world. Oh, we should have had this guy there, this guy there. But at the end of the day, when there's plays to be made, right, and you're a player, you've got to make that play. Like, we gave you an opportunity to make a play. You got to make it. And you didn't make it because you hesitated for a minute. You slowed down or you lost sight of the ball. And it happens. And it's just unfortunate.
Is it hard to track in Ford Field? I've heard a couple of times now that it's hard to track the football in there because of the gray iron that's up there and stuff like that.
It's a little dark in there, but there's no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Football, like, there's going to be games where you look back, that sun's beaming in your eye. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's going to be cold, whatever, man. Like, we're professionals. And trust me, I've dropped a lot of passes. I ain't saying I'll drop a ton right in my face that I should have caught. You know what I'm saying?
That was funny. You caught me off guard with that one.
It happens, man. Like, I mean, it happens. I ain't going to sit there and like I've caught every pass. You know what I mean? Like, I've dropped a ton of passes I should have caught. But at the end of the day, like, if you want to be in this league for a long time, right? What makes you a pro is, right, you make the routine play when it's there to be made, but you make the big play when your number's called more often than not. And that's a situation where I felt like Justin put that ball right where it needed to be. And, Tyler will tell you he's got to come down with it. Like, it's unfortunate, but that's what happened.
Is whenever you get after the game, you get the, oh, man, listen, that's on me. Everybody doing the that's on me thing. That's when you know it wasn't a good game. That's when you know it didn't end the way you wanted it to, man.
Like I said, man, I feel for all them guys, man. I
Yeah.
feel for them coaches, man. I know it's tough, man. And just to see their faces when they were leaving, I'm sitting in there like shocked and disheartened. Like I played the game, like I'm watching the game, and I'm hurt. Like I lost the game because I'm right there with them guys. You know what I mean? It's family. It's very family, man. Like I want this team to do well. But it's tough, man. It's tough, like you said, when you play good football the whole game. I mean, you played some of your best football we've seen all year. And then, like you said before the show, to get kicked in your at the end.
Hey, yeah.
God,
that was a kick in the regions, boys. That was a kick in the nether regions on that one.
Kick me in the Jimmy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, voice was a little high after that game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's keep this thing moving along, man. I will say this. What do we have as far as your prediction heading into Sunday? Let's chop it up on that a little bit, because I think that there's one or two ways this can go, right? All this adversity can be, we're right there. Let's get over the line, and then we got them again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the one thing, like, now granted, y'all were a much better football team, but like, we always hear that y'all were ready for the Patriots heading into that Super Bowl because y'all felt like y'all knew how to beat them.
Yeah.
And you wanted them again. Like, no, they're not going to beat us again. We got the Lions in 2 weeks. And so now you got the Vikings this week. Learn from it. I think that this sets up perfectly for you to finish out 60 minutes of football. I actually think that the Bears do a lot of things well that hinder the Vikings in this one, and then go out there and get your revenge. But let's focus on this week first. What are your thoughts heading into this game? How did the Bears come out of it with a win?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just setting the tone of the game. You got a Vikings team that lost one as well, kind of the same way that we just lost last week. I think they were on a 4-game win streak. They didn't. Yeah. This is their first loss since they beat us back in, was it week 6?
Yes.
So I mean, they're going to be, ready to. They're going to be excited. They're back at home. Like I said, Monday Night Football. There's an added sense of intensity when you're playing in front of the world. But for the Bears, man, I think it's going to be. That first game was a close game. It was a game of field goals until, Bears, we made mistakes. We gave up the 1 touchdown pass to Jordan Addison. Defensively, they shut down the run. They played Kirk Cousins really well. They gave up that 1 pass. And then offensively, Bayesian, you remember, strip sack, Jordan Hicks returns it for a touchdown. And then we still had an opportunity in the game to win. And, Bayesian underthrew DJ Moore on that go route. So if I'm the Bears, I'm looking at this team now. New quarterback under center, Josh Dobbs. Highly intelligent guy, makes a lot of plays downfield in the passing game. But the thing that I think he has that Kirk doesn't have is he's a little bit more athletic in terms of, he'll scramble and extend plays. He can hurt you with his legs. So, defensively, it all starts with the run. And that's something that we've been great at all year. You got to shut down the run. And I think the Vikings have gotten better since we played them, running the ball with Madison. And they got the other guy in there, Ty Chandler, who had a pretty good game last week. But the one thing we do know is the Vikings team will turn the ball over. We saw Dobbs on the first play against Denver in at running back, which I don't know why, got hit. He stripped the ball, got stripped, turned the ball over. Madison had a fumble. Ty Chandler trying to block Josie Jewell in pass protection, gets beat. Dobbs gets hit as he's throwing the ball. That ball's picked off, and that sealed their fate. So this is a team that we can get after defensively, building upon what we did in Detroit. Get after these guys, and they will give you opportunities to get takeaways, to put your offense in position on short fields, to put points on the board. And this week, more than last week, we have to take advantage of those takeaways with those opportunities that we get. Yeah. You can't get a takeaway and only come out of it with just field goals or no points at all. You've got to put touchdowns on the board after getting a takeaway from your defense.
Yeah. I was irritated by that, but there's also the part of, like, I always remind people, I'd be like, y'all know they get paid a lot of money to be a top 10 defense on the other side too, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people think that it's Madden out there. It's a turnover, I got to score a touchdown. It's like, now, you got to come away with points, right? Like, if we get any points on those first 2 turnovers, we win the game still.
100%.
And I feel like that's the part that irritated me the most. Like, he didn't even come away with 3. At least come away with 3.
Yeah.
And I feel like even in those moments, right, it was, we got to take away. Let's be careful. Let's just try and get in. The mindset that I don't want to continue around here, whether the coaches are here or not. But I think the worst mindset is the mindset of I did enough. Yeah. Let's just do enough. Because if you just try to do enough, you're going to fall short of enough. And we saw the Bears fall short of enough multiple times in this game, right? Like, but it feels like so many times during the season, it's just, we're up 12. We did enough. No, you didn't, because you lost, because we're sitting here talking about a loss. Well, we should have done more in this moment. Well, if you had done more in those moments, you might not need more in that moment, right? Like, so I just feel like the Bears' mindset is too short-sighted right now. And that's what leads to a lot of these losses. That's something that needs to die immediately. And again, right? We've talked about the hits principle all season. Where in the hits principle is do enough, right? The first word is hustle. Hustle means I'm doing everything I can. It could be 7 people standing in front of me. I'm gonna fight through 7 people to try and get to the other side. Like, that's hustle. Hustle isn't, I ran for a little while and I got tired. I fell over. Yeah, I mean, like, the whole mindset from the coaching staff down is just something that
it's like it goes back to, it's learning how to win.
Yeah.
Having that winning pedigree.
Yeah.
Overcoming the adversity that you're going to face in a game, right? They make a play. Well, we've got to come back and have that mentality, have that edge, have that grit, have that dog to come back and say, they made a play. Well, hell, you ain't going to punch me in my chest. I'm going to punch you in the chest back. We're going to make a play.
And that, like, we get punched in the face and we just like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can make a miss punching me in the face again. Well, put your hands up, brother Jesus.
Yeah, and that just comes back from, you have a young team, you have a team that hasn't had a lot of success.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying it's like that for all of these guys, but I'm sure it is for some of them, that when something bad happens, when you're down in the game, oh, damn, here we go again, we lost. Whereas
it's going to creep in, yeah.
You're on the flip side, you look at Detroit, right? They just had a game against the Chargers in which they had to do the same thing, came back and won that game the previous week. Now they're down in our game, and they keep fighting. Golf's throwing picks, they never wavered. We're gonna stick with it. We're gonna stick with it. Like their coach preaches grit, right? Dan Campbell, a former player, like he ain't gonna let his team be complacent. He's got that he's a fiery leader, and he's probably telling these guys, hey, you know what? Let them celebrate in the first half. The second half is ours. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have that grit and that dog to be able to put a game away when it's there to be put away. And if you give really good teams that's used to winning, that has a belief now, that's turning a corner, if you leave that door open, you leave a crack open in that door, well, guess what? They're going to kick that damn door in. And you're going to be, at the end of the game, you're going to be watching them celebrate like we were.
Yeah. I think that Campbell's mindset is one of the reasons why Detroit was able to do what they did last year. Yeah. Right? Because in the moment that we're in, if we're at the end of that game and we have Dan Campbell as our head coach, you best believe Dan Campbell's still throwing the football. Yeah. Now, is it crazy? Maybe you want to run the ball out. Maybe you want we have to be aggressive all the time. And that aggressiveness is how they come back in that game. That aggressiveness is how you keep your foot on the team's throat, right? Like, they think that they come. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Dan Campbell just say, all right, we're going to pack it in here, boys. Good game.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. And to your point, and what I think you're trying to say, or what I'm going to say is, your team takes on the identity of the head coach. So if you have a fiery coach, an aggressive coach, a physical coach, right? That's the style of play that your team is going to display every single week.
Yep.
Like your team, like I said before, takes on the identity of your head coach. So the way your team plays the game, right? And all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams, the way your team plays, that's the personality and the identity of your head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's why Luke Getsy packs it in. I think that's why I said even like the Bears to me had that mindset in that game. And that's the one mindset I need to see killed this week moving forward.
Yeah.
Where Tremaine Edmonds misses that tackle. That was the moment where I was like, this game's probably over. Like, we're probably about to start losing this game. I'm not going to lie to you. It still felt improbable, but I was like, that was the moment where it creeped in, because it was like, he should have made the tackle, of course, but nobody was around him.
Yeah,
right? Nobody was there to help him. Nobody was there if he missed that tackle. Yeah. And it felt like everybody else is like, he got it. He did enough.
like you said, where's the hustle? Where's the hustle to the ball?
Yeah, I feel like we keep having that conversation, and this Bears team, man, they're going to get our blood pressure up one way or the other. That is one thing that we can definitely guarantee. Let's touch on some of these other topics that we had on today, though. Appreciate you guys tuning in and showing love. Well, let's get a prediction there, J Mack. What do you got going in this game? You got a Bears win?
Man, you know, I'm always rooting. I'm always on the side of my Bears, and I know that those guys they're hurting. I know they should be excited to get another opportunity this week. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say 24-17 Bears. Monday night.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit bullish. I'm gonna say the Bears win this game 32-21. I think the Bears actually dominate this game and find a way to hold on to it. I know that sounds crazy, y'all, but like if they don't establish the run, Josh Dobbs ain't that good. Like it's the same formula as with Kirk Cousins. And don't let Alexander Madison get 150 yards.
Yeah.
And the quarterback's got to make all the plays.
And here's the key too. Like the Vikings still are on the fence about what to do with Justin Jefferson, right? Because I think they have a bye after this game, right?
Yeah, I don't believe he's going to play in this.
Yeah, because they think they got a bye after this game, just like we
same
do.
As us. Yep.
So they're like, do we hold him out this week? And he gets the bye week to rest. So you basically give him 2 weeks to rest before we bring him back. I hope that's what they do.
Hey.
I don't know what they do. I hope that's what
man. They do. We'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. I do want to get your thoughts, though, because I don't think he was a former teammate. You were gone by the time Marty Bennett showed up, wasn't he? Was the year he get there? Yeah, 13. You were gone by the time Marty Bennett showed up in Chicago. Martellus Bennett, yeah. Mm-hmm. But he has some interesting things to say about the Chicago Bears franchise after that loss. Basically talking about the owners, saying the Bears ownership lacks futurism. The entire business model is built on selling the past. The 85 Bears they're always trying to recreate that old product instead of buying new product. He said they're okay with losing games, but not the brand built on the past. The Bears need an entire rebrand, top to bottom. Ownership is going to transition the organization into the future. They need ownership that's going to transition the organization into the future. Basically, talking about, I love Chicago, but they ain't never going to be anything because they still trying to hold on to 85. What are your thoughts on what Martellus Bennett had to say about the Bears organization?
Yeah, I'm not saying they hold on to 85 because it pains me to say this. That's the team that won the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? And we were a team that was close to doing that. So I get what he's saying. I don't think they're okay with losing. I don't agree with that part. I know the McCats get fired up. They're pissed off. That's why you see there's been so many firings and hirings because they're trying to find the right coach and GM to run this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I do think it's an organization that's based on tradition. Don't get me wrong. That's why the uniforms haven't changed. That's why you don't see all the different colorways like all these teams are wearing and stuff like that. Like it's built upon tradition, and that's the way that the McCaskey family wants this organization run. But I know they don't accept losing. I know that for a fact. I know it pisses them off to see that this team has been the way it's been the past few years. But I agree with Marty in terms of, trying to find ways to bring this team up to date in terms of the moves and stuff like that they make. Like I said before, if you have an organization or ownership that's hired all these GMs and coaches and it's not panning out, well, you got to change that process. You got to change the process in terms of who's in there hiring, like who's a part of the hiring committee, because if we're doing the same thing over and over again, it's a different name on the mantle in terms of head coach, but we're getting the same results. So at the end of the day, like I'm the owner, I've got to take ownership and say my process in terms of evaluating and hiring, these coaches and GMs isn't working. So I've got to find a different way. I may have to relinquish control and let somebody else come in and take over that because what I've done, it hasn't worked. And we've seen that over and over and over again.
Yeah. I actually think they have done that a little bit more now. It was very random that the rant came out. It had nothing to do with pretty much the game at all. Yeah. Like it was just like, what was you just holding this in? You just felt this in your soul that you just finally had to get it off. The one thing that I will say that he said, I got to find this tweet here. And I will say, to me, I've always thought this of the Bears organization. They never protect their players publicly. You can't, now I don't know if you can't trust it, but you can't trust an organization as a player because you can't relate to the leadership. They can't communicate with the youth. I feel like even this season, there were so many situations where all you had to say, Nate Davis, all you got to say, somebody in his family passed away. It's a serious situation.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You let this man take all kind of daggers, question marks on his want to be out there, question marks on his character, question marks on him wanting to be at practice. You let all of that happen. And you didn't say nothing about, and my man's got a very close family member that passed away. He's going through it. He's really going through it right now. Like, y'all get off our guy. But like stuff like that, as far as communicating to the youth, I don't know. I mean, like Ryan Poles seemed like he pretty much from a generation before ours. I think he communicates with his players pretty well, but like the PR stuff like that, I do think that the Bears really struggle with. And we've seen that. I mean, listen, this season's been a perfect example of it. It's been multiple times this season where we've gone, what are they doing up there? Just tell the truth. Yeah. If you tell the truth, we all get off your back.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think it's hard with that situation too. I see both sides from a standpoint. I see their side because it may be, I don't know, maybe he didn't want it out there that, he had a family member that was sick, you know what I'm saying, that was going through an ordeal.
Yeah.
So I can see we're going to keep this private for Nate because we don't want the world to know exactly what's going on with his family. But at the same time, there was instances where they were saying, we don't know where he's at. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like that's what I didn't. So even us, we talked about it. I was like, man, like Nate Davis, you just signed him. You got to be with your guys, putting in work and building continuity and chemistry and all that stuff we talk about all the time, but not knowing, what was really happening. So I don't know, like, should they have came out and just said, hey, this and that? I think they was trying to keep it private for the player. But there's been other cases, like you said, where, there's been.
But even keeping it private, right? Even keeping it private, he's dealing with something very serious right now. We ask that you respect. Like, it was more so just they really made it sound like he didn't want to practice. Mm-hmm. How Flus would talk, how these guys would talk. They would just be like, hey, listen, we're talking with him right now. We're working through some things and, he'll be out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're making it sound like he don't want to be on the practice field coming from a place where the head coach was like, he don't want to practice.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some of that into it too. I don't know. After a while, a little later in the I don't know. But you could have killed so much of it by not letting it get to that point.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, people, and here's the thing, right? Like, I have not been through that situation that he's gone through.
Yeah.
And I think the man upstairs that I haven't gone through that situation.
Yeah.
So there's some players that need to practice, that will need to practice to get their mind off of that situation. And there's some that's going to be so emotionally drained and, hurt that they can't practice. So,
right.
I don't know.
I mean, listen, and it's not to besmirch the player. It's just the point that Marty, I think that's the one thing that he said that to me was spot on, where with a lot of the players, it always seems like they side with the coaching staff, the organization, the front office, right? We have to make them look good in this light versus the guys that are actually on the field, giving blood, sweat, and tears, fighting, giving everything they got, right? Hey, I'm going through something right now, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, we didn't know about this. We like they always try to spin and make it. Just tell the truth. I feel like Will Smith in Concussion, right? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Yeah, I mean, that's all. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, hopefully where our organization is moving in the right direction. I do feel like we're moving in the right direction. And hopefully we keep moving because the coaching conversation. So basically on the post game show, somebody brought up, you have to look at the greatest coaches in Bears history. And they said George Halas, Mike Ditka, and Lovie Smith. And that was it. And here's the thing, right? George Halas was a coach for a long time. There's a reason why that was it, right? But from the time George Halas finished coaching in 1967, Mike Ditka started in 1982. Ditka stopped in 92. Lovie Smith showed up in 2004. Since then, it has not gotten better, and the coaches in between are not good in the slightest.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And then you look at organizations like Pittsburgh that have had three head coaches in the entire
four,
history?
I think Tomlin's 4, ain't he?
Is he 4? I don't know. It hasn't been a lot.
It ain't a lot.
in the whole history of the organization, which is crazy. Like, yeah, I mean, it's
It was just one of those things. It was such a sobering thought, right? Because then you look at the coaches after they move on from Lovie. You had Mark Trestman, who was 13 and 19. You had John Fox, who was 14 and 34. You had Matt Nagy, who actually had a winning record of 34 and 31. But as we can see, he literally ruins quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes is not the same Pat Mahomes. Oh, it's the wide receivers. The wide receivers aren't catching. No, the play calls are stupid. Why are you running an end around on 3rd and 1? Stop it. Andy, take the play calling over again. He going to get another job. It's going to be crazy. And Matt Eberflus is the worst of I believe, any Chicago Bears coach with the worst winning percentage right now. A 167 win percentage there, J Mack. 3-14. That's what we currently have at the helm right now.
Yeah, man. It's I'm just glad that I had hey, Pat, my answer is I'm just glad that I had the opportunity to be under there with Lovie.
Hey, listen, you had a little Dick Duran in there. You had a little Dick Duran in there.
Out of year Dick Duran. And after that was the Lovie transition. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's like my man Yurko. I love my man Yurko's quote, man. Just kick me in my chest. That's what it is, man. Just keep kicking me in. Like, every time we bring up something good about the Bears, there's going to be something to kick you right in your Johnson to derail the good thoughts that you're having.
It's so tough when you really look at it, right? Like, it's like every time, like, it's like you said, right? But every time you feel like you figured it out with the Bears,
yeah,
there's something that's just like, hold on, wait a minute. We haven't kicked you in the little guys in about a week. Yeah. We gotta bring that back. Like, hey, how many times did we think we figured it out? We thought we figured it out with Nagy. Oh, this guy's going to bring us into an offensive future, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he's got Mitch Trubisky dropping back, throwing 40 passes in a game, not running the football. And we like, Mitch can't throw.
Yeah.
And he don't want to help Mitch get better because he never liked Mitch, right? Like that whole thing, Matt Eberflus coming in now, right? The defense feels like it's starting to get together, but you got a head coach that basically is just like, hey, you did enough. Keep it going. Don't worry about it. Like it's so funny to me that when you're in that moment with Lovie Smith, you're like, okay, maybe it's time to move on from this. Maybe the players have stopped listening, which never happened. Like, I don't know how that narrative got started, but like maybe the players are done with Lovie. It seems like they've all moved past. So now Mark Trestman's the answer. Mark Trestman was playing with Star Wars action figures, bro. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's God. It's been tough, J Mack. Let's hope that one day we're sitting here doing this podcast and we're not talking about I mean, at this point, what would it be? Lovie was fired in 12. Oh God, we're past 10 years against this. We have a good head coach. Wait, it's almost that time. We got to get a good one. 92 to 04.
Mm-hmm.
And then 67 to 82. We coming up. We got a good head coach coming next. It's been 10 years of misery. Now we get the good head coach where we get 5 years of great football, and then it falls off a cliff again. It's almost that time, Bears fans. I just broke it down. It's the Konami code. I just broke down the Bears Konami code.
We'll see, man. The main thing they got to get is a damn win on Monday night. That's what they got to get.
I'd love to see a win on Monday night. I'm going to be doing a watch party up at Logan 11. So there's going to be a lot of Bears fans in there with me. And hopefully they're able to see a win with me as well. It's going to be a lot of fun there, man. Anything else, J Mack, heading off into Thanksgiving weekend and the holiday weekend and all the fun that's gonna be had. You finna eat, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm actually me, my brother Olin Krutz and Big Cat. We're about to go work out so that way we can eat. Can eat like crazy tomorrow. So,
but what's the workout tips for prepping for all the Thanksgiving food that people
man, we're boxing today, man. Today's our boxing day, man. So we got a boxing workout. Our boxing trainer, give him a shout out, Babaloo.
Hey, wait, y'all, you box against Olin Krutz?
Yeah, we all box, man. Me, Big Cat, and Olin. Like we don't kill each other, but we box, move around and stuff like that, and hit the mitts, and we do a little movement against each other and stuff like that. We've been doing it for years.
You're a better man than me, though. You boxing against Olin Krutz? That sounds terrifying. That sounds absolutely scary, brother. You be messing with her, you be trying to get in his head. You be like, Sam Musfer ain't that good.
Ah! Listen here. You listen, and this is my brother Olin Krutz.
Yeah.
This is his quote all the time, right? When you hang with the lame, you gain a limp. But when you're a dog, you hang with dogs. So I'm going to hang with my dogs.
Hey, I love it, man. Because look, he hit me. I'm a limp. I ain't gonna lie, that boy, he too big. There's something about they all a little grab too. They're very grabby people. The offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I'm a regular dude. Every time I see Thayer, I saw Hampton, they all grab me on the shoulder. I just get scared instantly. Oh God, don't have a flashback right now. Hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. As always, for Jason McKie, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Let's go get a dub. Bear down. Peace.